What about G2 then? Because obviously this was the team where people are umming and ahhing. Like when they would have games towards the end of the best of one round robin, maybe they're not as legit. Some people think they should still be the best. They've also got Caps and all those players that you think of in your brain. They should always be smashing these series. What do you think overall of G2 right now?
I mean, I think they're quite clearly the best team in Europe. I don't think the play in LEC has been very good the last couple of weeks. I think overall there have been quite a few mistakes made.
Oh, sure.
And I think especially in that second game that we were talking about where Niski made that misplay and gave Draven a bunch of gold, that it was kind of a gift. And so it was, when you do that to Draven right now, I think Draven is incredibly strong. He snowballs so crazily out of control that if you start that process, it can be really, really devastating effect in the late game. And it's been surprising to me because I've never really thought about Draven as a late game AD carry, but I have been surprised by the current level of damage output that we have seen on this champion. And I think part of that is the change to itemization on this patch. If you watched LCK this last week, there was the KT upset over Gen G. Aiming was playing Draven, and the combo of Shield Bow, Infinity Edge, and Bloodthirster was just doing insanely dirty things in that game. So it seems like he is just doing a crazy amount of late game damage now, in addition to being a immense lane bully and a huge snowballing threat. And so if you let him into the game, and if you let Hans Sama, who is obviously a notoriously good Draven player, have these opportunities, they are going to be able to close the game on you. It's just Draven is really, really strong right now. And I think the reason you're not seeing more coverage of the fact that he probably needs to be nerfed is that not every player plays Draven. So I think it can deceptively seem like a pocket pick that certain players are strong on, rather than just an extremely strong all-around pick. There's very few, I think, downsides to playing Draven right now. Another thing that we've seen from G2 is just running interesting picks, like Lilia, coming into these playoffs. And I think that was pretty savvy from G2. Let me pull up the drafts they were using, if I can find them.
I mean, they played it twice against BDS. The games they won, they had the Lilia.
Yeah. Sorry, the drafts aren't up on Leaguepedia right now. So when we look at some of the Lilia picks that they've been using, again, Lilia, as we said earlier, was a form of conditional engage that they have decided to pull out. You can combine this with
brilliant for a rookie jungler. Think about that. Like, he doesn't have to go in. He just have to commit.
Also,
Device way more of a gamble.
Yeah, insanely good at kiting as well. And when you're playing, they've been really preferring to play mid lane AD champions, so like Jace and Tristana, which again, Jace can speed boost and kite backwards, right? You're getting that poke. Tristana can kite very effectively as well, using her W and her ultimate. So it allows you to create a pretty significant amount of space, and gives you flexibility to play AD mid laners as well. So in general, I like it. G2 tried to play the Bel'Veth and the Xayah. Not sure what that was about with BDS, but I do think the Lilia picks with the Jace have been really, really effective. Also allows you to set up some pretty big Jax plays as well for Broken Blade, again, based off of putting people to sleep, setting it up with a chain CC with the Counter-Strike, and then getting the Jax activated in the fight. So I like it.
And the difference between G2 and Vitality, to contrast them, is if the top side doesn't win for G2, they still have that bot lane. The bot lane's really good as well. So the thing is, their team all around, like, basically the only weakness essentially is like the Yike angle. And then if the rest of the team's doing great, his weakness is covered. Like, you've actually, and as you're saying, even you can tell the way they draft and pick, they're clearly like They're not just setting this young guy in the jungle, in the deep end and going, swim. They're telling him, like, so we're going to build it up like this. You're going to do this early. You're going to go with him. Like, watch for the, like, again, the coaching staff's killing it in that team. And the good thing is, even though Caps certainly doesn't, like, snap every game like he used to, the difference is this. When Caps does get fed Monte, he carries every one of those games. That's the difference, I would say. Like, he's one of the only players in the LEC right now. You can guarantee pretty much when he gets ahead, he's just going to fucking win the game. So, like, all around, just a really nice all-around team. I agree with you. They have to be the best right now.
I do wonder about the Yike stuff, because it seems like when they try and empower him on these Belveth picks, it's just not a super good idea. And, you know, that's fine. He doesn't have to be the star player of this roster. And this is my problem in general when people try and hype up rookie players. You have to remember that the effective way to introduce rookies is what we saw EG do with Danny and EG do with Jojo Pyun, which is like limit their champion pool, limit their agency on the map so that they can perform well, gain confidence, gain that experience, and then slowly start putting them on picks or in macro positions where they have more agency and their decision making can be activated. But I think with Yike, it's very clear that the coaching staff of G2 has been holding his hand in these early games, creating scripted plays, trying to set him up for success. And yeah, they're playing a playoff game with him on Belveth. That's probably a really good thing for his confidence to start dipping his toes into the water of being that guy. But frankly, he doesn't have to be that guy on this roster. They have really strong lanes. So regardless, I think they're going to be okay. But you also can't over-evaluate the impact of a player like Yike when you're a jungler playing with these super veteran players who are among the top of their positions. And fans want to say, oh, this guy's immediately a god. He's playing on easy mode, guys. He's playing on easy mode. And it's not to take anything away from him. I think he has been good, but he's still clearly a rookie in many ways. And he's not the best jungler in this league.
Yes. Like, put it this way, if people don't know, it's also one of the things I always considered a strength, because I think Delafalco's in the same wheelhouse of Youngbuck. It's why when he had all those XL teams that used to narrowly miss the playoffs, everyone used to meme like, lol, how could he be that good a coach? Here's the question that I'll ask you that'll melt your fucking brain, right? Aside from Patrick, which of those players even ever did anything in another team ever? None. I could list every one of them. Like, they're all gone. The joke is, he was almost making playoffs with players, Monte, that just exited the league in pro play or went to ERLs forever and are just like they're like fucking, it's like those angels, like the demons that were fucking bound in Tartarus, like for 1,000. You'll never see those players ever again. Like, that's how you know, because Youngbuck's skill basically was like that. He would figure out, like, essentially, right, oh, you're going to have issues here. So the band-aid is, you just have a 3-champion pool. You play these 3 that you're comfortable on, then I can build the draft out. Now I know what I can give this jungler here. I can give the fucking top laner this. He would just build it up like that. And it's just an effective style. It's why people like Youngbuck and Dylan Falco, when they have the middling teams, just get way more than you expect. Like, they'll just turn those players where you're like, I didn't think he was good. Like, you can just survive in the game. Whereas there are the people where, I won't name names, but I've seen people who've coached really, really, really top teams where you just think you're a genius in the draft because your ADC can play like 6 things top lane. It's like, the other guy doesn't have that luxury, mate. Again, you're playing on, not always easy mode, but easier mode. You're playing on normal mode. Some people are playing on nightmare mode. That's the point. And spoiler, if you're coach of XL, you're always playing on nightmare mode because it's XL in it. So get more about that later, maybe.
Also, I think, and now that we've seen 10 games from these teams and we're over the initial hype of, you know, Yike being added to this roster, I think it was still a bad move to trade Jankos for him. Having watched Jankos' performance, I think this G2 roster is better with Jankos. Going to slide that one in there.
And remember,
good, but he hasn't been as good as Jankos.
If they'd accepted the offer, I have to imagine them with El Yoya, mate. If this team had El Yoya, like, again, let's go to MSI. Let's see what can fucking happen. Because there are some LCK or LPL teams could get that second spot there. Might be interesting. Might be real interesting if you had fucking Jankos or El Yoya in this G2 lineup. Like, they could come with gas with this lineup. So, yeah. See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then. Or, you know, be a pleb and don't.